Welcome to the Don't Count Me Out podcast. This program is dedicated to stroke survivors, loved ones, and caregivers, medical professionals, and anyone interested in learning more about this devastating disease and the warriors that face it every day. Our mission is to share stroke survivors' stories of inspiration and hope, form friendships and community, gain knowledge and insights, and the courage to dream and explore new avenues as we find our way back to living. So, my friends, the Don't Count Me Out podcast begins right now.
Are you picking the bead up or are you picking the diamond up?
The bead. I mean, they're called diamonds, but they're beads or pegs or something like that. You dump that color in the tray and then you just start pecking away, and matching the colors up.
Cool. That's so cool. I would 100% try that. I'm not artistic at all, so paint by numbers sounds right up my alley.
Yeah, it's simple. It's time consuming. For me anyway, I have to look real close and I have to make sure that I get that diamond just perfectly set in there, because you want your row of your diamonds to line up. You don't want them to be crooked. The further back you are viewing a diamond painting, the less errors or crooked lines you may see.
Okay.
The other great thing about diamond painting is the larger the painting, the more detail, the more colors and detail you're going to get.
That little diamond, you stick where it's called for, and it's actually like just a little bead of color. And so this painting is just a bunch of beads on the fly paper.
Yes.
So those are just a bunch of dots.
That's correct.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Now it's even cooler.
The problem I have is my hand is shaky. I use the old, we used to play drop the clothespin in the milk crate, from way up. And so that's kind of the way I have to go down at it. As soon as I'm lined up perfectly with that spot, I'll just drop it in there.
Okay.
And the more you do it, the quicker you can go.
So the repetition really helps. And that's why it seems like any of the stroke survivors that have difficulty with their hands, working on this really helps them to regain some type of control. It gives them something really nice that they can look at and share with other people.
That's right.
Yeah, I love seeing the posts where you have 3 or 4 different paintings, and I mean, they're all gorgeous. And I think I posted, how do I get one?
I think we have a page on Don't Count Me Out with all of our paintings. And don't we, Joanne?
I'm trying to think about that. If we don't, we will.
And it's very inexpensive hobby. If you learn to blend colors and various brushes to use. And I watch a lot of YouTube videos just to get some tips. And I did that for the diamond painting as well. Is watch some YouTube videos, and the diamond painting ones, they get pretty specific, and it helped me a lot. But where I struggled was having to lean over all the time. So we need to do back stretches or back exercises. It's kind of a strain on the eyes. So you can only, I'd probably work on it for about an hour and then take a break, walk away. Sometimes I'd work on it a little bit too long, and my back would start acting up a little.
Yeah, and that's a really good pointer, Bob, because when you think of it, even I kind of look at it like when you're flying on an airplane, you need to get up and walk around every half hour or so just to keep yourself mobile and not get yourself into trouble.
So you don't get stiff. I mean, sitting and especially leaning over, like we were meant to be upright, our spine just can't take all of that, and the muscles just ache after a while.
One of the things that Karen Theo does with her grandkids, so she's got all these beautiful pictures of her grandkids with the diamond paintings, and they're really sweet.
How cool.
Yeah, I got to send one in to my dog.
Oh, I love that.
Then like the larger size, the larger you order, the more detailed it's going to be. So I think Karen's the smaller ones, but they still turn out really good.
Yeah, and we'll show some that Barbara did too that are they're stunning. She does them on a larger canvas.
Well, I'm excited to get one so I can see it in person.
I wouldn't go on Amazon.
No, I want yours.
Oh,
I want a done one and putting it on the wall. Do you sometimes do just where it's like a color and it's just like a nice, I don't know. I saw this blue. I love blue is my favorite color.
Yeah,
I saw
well,
this blue. Yes.
Sure, that one.
I see
shows
that
up.
one perfectly.
a blending of three colors and just using your creativity. When I was in the hospital, they always had me do a lot of the stretching. It was in a fist and I couldn't open my hand. I'm thinking, really helps me get better at painting and diamond painting and someday the piano.
Do you do that now before you begin to do the diamond painting? Do you do the stretching?
I crack my knuckles.
Hey, that says he's ready to go. That's what knuckle cracking means.
Yeah, we're constantly continue to stretch the fingers. Sharon does that a lot when we sitting outside together watching TV, stretch my fingers for me.
And it's so important to stay up on it. I honestly didn't even know improvements were possible. Like I was just thinking my left hand was going to be like this or like this for forever. Like I didn't know it could get better, so I didn't start working on it until I started like strength training maybe 4 or 5 years into it. So I was able to put a weight in my hand. I still have to put the weight in my hand. I can't actually grab it. As far as stretching and things like that go, I didn't start till 9 years post, and all these muscles, all the connective tissues, everything was so contracted. It has shortened up. Everything along my arm and all up into my back and shoulder, tricep, everything just shortened. So stretching was the first thing that I was told to do by other stroke survivors in the group, and I still do it to this day, like you, Bob. And I credit stretching and different types of stretches to my progress. 100% of what I do.
You did not start doing that until 9 years after your stroke.
Yep. I didn't
That's
stretch
amazing.
nothing, 9 years.
I think that's such an important message for people to hear. I think a lot of times they're told, you've got 6 months, you've got 2 years, and that's as far as you're going to go. So to hear from someone a message like that just opens up the door to hope.
That's right.
Yes, I did have my brace on, but I took it off. If something comes up and I can show my hand, I want it to be out. Look at it now. Like it's perfectly flat. And this is all because of stretching and doing the individual fingers. I don't stretch too far back because I actually hyperextended this joint right here. So I actually have to be really careful about stretching. And I think everyone does actually. Now it's my thumb that I work on. So I do different stretches with my thumb. Like I really, really stretch it out like way, way over here in the brace. So it's like way opposition. So I can stretch out this webbing because it wants to be next to my hand. You got to look and see what your hand needs and go with it. Just try stuff. Bob, no one told you exactly the stretches you do, right? You just kind of do what you need to do.
Right. When I was in the hospital working with an occupational therapist, she told me to do those stretches with my fingers, work out my left arm by raising my right arm. That way my left side stayed in pretty good shape. It all came down to neuroplasticity. Call her an angel, but she was dressed as a nurse. She came into my room one night. She walked in and my hand was still in a fist. And she said, I've worked with stroke patients before. And if you just grab that fist and just visualize and think about moving that index finger and then actually try to do it, she said that it'll eventually move. 2 nights later, I finally got movement on my finger. And then I was so excited. I was up all night, and I had all my fingers moving. The stretching really, really helped.
Yeah. It's number one. Everyone has to stretch, and everyone has different stretches that are going to help them. You talked about exercises and things to do to maybe get ready for this like really, I'm going to say complicated for lack of a better word, but I want to say dexterity, but dexterous activity. It's not a word, but gonna say it. I've got toys all around me. So I've got ideas to share if it comes up.
Well, let's bring it up.
Do you want me to go into things to do?
Oh, I think that would be wonderful.
Okay, I've got a couple things, and I'm gonna start. We all know about the grippers, right?
Right.
And we want to get one that's adjustable. Like some of them come preset to just one strength, and the ones that are adjustable, I think, are the better, because then you have a range when you're just starting out, and then you can progress, which is what we should do with every exercise, is work to progress. Another one that's really great when you're starting out, I'm going to bring out the putty because it's a classic, but there's a reason everyone mentions it, and that's because it is so beneficial and versatile. You can do so many things with putty, and if I can get it out of the package, I can show you. Pretend I have a table here. You can get something like let's see, what could you do at home? I got this from therapy, and she put like tape on it so my hand would be able to grasp it. But you could definitely find something like this in like a hardware store. And then what you would do is just with the putty on the table, just push it in and turn. And so you're working on rotation of the wrist and strength together with the putty.
What if someone wanted to make one like that? Would they be able to use like a small piece of PVC piping and be a tennis ball?
So maybe a racquetball, one that's not the surface that a tennis ball does, I think might be better.
I don't know if a racquetball is solid on the inside or not.
It is not.
Good. Okay, that works.
You know how the balls are on the bottom of walkers? That's what I'm picturing.
Exactly.
With
Yeah,
your
you
idea. Okay.
You just cut an X in it, and that way it will fit whatever size pipe you put in there.
Absolutely. And I was trying to think of a kitchen utensil, even like a potato masher. It's not a solid piece at the end, but it's still something that you can push in and turn, and the putty comes off relatively easily. It might take a minute to pull all the little strands, but even something like that, I think would be great if you just have it on hand. I think the most important part to know about therapy is it everywhere. It's in everything we do.
Yeah.
And the more functional the activity that you would like actually do it in real life, the better connections get made. Because you know that it's something that you are going to be doing. So then the brain knows it's something that you're going to want to be doing. And then a little bit more dexterous. I'm going to see if that's a word after this, but a little bit more dexterous would be, well, first of all, picking up coins. I have poker chips myself because coins are still a little tough for me.
Yeah.
Puzzle pieces, I think, would be great to work on. If you have like a screw, some washers, anything like that, roll them up in the putty, and then you can work on pulling them out with your pinch. Even if you do like a 3-finger pinch, like I can't move my thumb, so I'm gonna show you with my unaffected hand, but even a 3-finger pinch, or the normal, or just with different fingers, that's a good strengthening thing. It can be a little frustrating, so I wouldn't recommend it straight off the bat, but it's something to work up to. And I think that something like that would definitely prepare you for diamond painting. Or another good one is, I know they make plastic lids for items in the kitchen to store things, but if you would cut like a slot for coins in this and use the container, pick up coins, and then you would have to not only pick up the coin and get it into a single location, but also have to push it through. So that's another multiple beneficial task.
Sounds exactly like what you have to do with diamond painting, but you don't have to push very hard. You just set it in there and it'll stick.
So something like that might be just great to build up to diamond painting. I mean, you guys know that neuroplasticity is improved. It happens better when you have a creative thing going on, or if you have brain games, something that's challenging you. But creativity is one of the things that boosts neuroplasticities.
I really love art therapy. It helps take my mind off of all the things that are going on. It relaxes me. And then once I've finished it, I've just got a great sense of accomplishment. A lot of failures, a lot of canvases that are just kind of stored in the back room, and I don't want anyone to see them. But I think for every one nice painting I do, I've probably failed about 4 or 5 of the others. It happens.
But that's an important fact because it's persistence.
Yeah.
And I'm sure when you get the final product of that one that you really, really like, you forget about those failures.
Oh, yeah.
And those are just learning experiences. Those are your practice ones.
And that's when I went on your page, and I posted a few. I post everything that I do. I post on Don't Count Me Out.
Yes.
But I wanted to put a few out on yours as well. And doing so, I try to recruit other artists. Let's see your work. And I don't want to do it in a kind of a bragging way or anything like that. I just, are there any artists out here? Let's see what you do. And if someone posts something, I'm all over them trying to invite them to Don't Count Me Out.
Yeah.
Our group.
I usually see yours on Don't Count Me Out.
Yeah.
But you should share your group in my group, because that would help recruit some people too.
Share. What do you mean share our group?
Or share to a page, or share to your feed.
I gotta check that out.
Yeah, because then people will have an automatic link straight to your group. Like they don't have to search Don't Count Me Out. They just can right there join.
Yeah.
Yep. How many reasons do I use? Alexa, off.
Yeah, I see it says Don't Count Me Out, Stroke Survivor Stories Plus, and then it has an arrow.
Yeah. And then share the link in a post in my group. It'll be a link straight to you. We're a group that shares our stories, shares our
successes.
Come join us.
Yeah, I got you.
But yeah, that's
cool.
an easy way to.
Yeah, I never knew that before.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're learning so much, that's for sure.
Well, and if you ever have any questions, I mean, like Ralph Preston has kind of been my mentor to teach me certain things, and then I teach him certain things about YouTube. And so we just kind of, all of us admins just kind of share what we've learned and to help each other, because every group has a specific focus almost.
Yes.
And a different vibe. And not every person is going to vibe with every group. And so it's important that we're all here and we're all sharing our stories, because who connects with me may not connect with you and vice versa. And so it's important that we're all here.
Right.
Sorry, I think I just went off on a tangent. But
Oh, that was a good one. It's one we needed to hear, that's for sure.
When I first had my stroke, that's all I looked forward to, was the next time I got to go to sleep.
It was like an oasis, because I dreamt about being whole again, and I could do anything that I had before, and then I'd have to wake up.
Yeah, I was exactly the same way. In fact, I posted this morning something just along those lines. Like, when I first had my stroke, I was 25. Well, who's going to love me now? I don't have a left hand. I can't talk. All I thought of was what I couldn't do, and the fact that I wasn't me. It took me quite a few years to realize that I'm still me. I still get to create going forward. And we're still us. We still have our mind, and we still have our personality. We still have our values. We still have our ambitions, our goals. And life may turn out a little differently, but we still get to create that different.
One of the things that helped me the most right afterward was watching children, because that's how I felt. I mean, there had been so much stripped away, being totally paralyzed on one side. You can't walk, you can't talk, you can't see straight, and you don't know if you're going to spend the rest of your life in an assisted living. In fact, they were trying to prepare me for doing that. And if not that, at least in a wheelchair. So I felt like I was probably about 8 months old at the time and having to learn all of these things. Watch what they're doing. And you'd watch them trying to roll back and forth so they could roll over, or watch them get up on their hands and knees and rock back and forth so that they could start to walk. And so I just started emulating what children were doing. Changed my attitude towards kids that are a little rambunctious in stores and climbing on shelves. That little kid's working on his abs. You go.
I never thought about that, but I love it.
That's good.
It just helps me to stay flexible in my thinking. And there were dark moments. I mean, I'm not going to deny that, because there were dark moments. Maybe one of the things that we need to do is start to encourage other stroke survivors to keep a calendar, and about every 3 or 4 months, write down where you are there and go back and look at where you were.
Yeah, that's what I did. Sharon and I did when I was in the hospital. We would document our accomplishments, or when I first moved my finger, first time I was able to shake my dad's hand, first step that I took, on the parallel bars. When things got tough, as they typically do, as you go, you look back and see where you were and how far you've come. And that really helps. So that makes a lot of sense.
I love that. I actually I haven't put it out on my page yet, but I have like a therapy tracker, and it's got like probing questions and things to pay attention to and write down in detail what you did and what the outcome was, how you felt about it. And I like that you said every couple of months look back, because the changes are so small. We don't see them on the day-to-day. So having that thing to reference is so important, and it helps with motivation.
Yeah.
So I love that idea of just a calendar, and I'm so focused on therapy because that's my focus, and so that's why I did the therapy tracker, because all these little things that I'm showing you, there's ways to measure your progress. So I'm an engineer. I got my degree post-stroke, by the way, with a lot of help from my teachers, but I did it. So I kind of have that like analytical way to look at things. So I like to count and have a quantitative number to look back on and see the progression. So that's what I think everyone should do. So
Yeah.
I think what you guys are doing and is great. To look back on it and see the progress. And then that way you also know what actually helped and what didn't. So you can just stop doing the things that aren't helping and focus on what's helping you make the progress.
One thing that I learned is you cannot take something away without replacing it. We cannot have void, because if there's a void, we're going to fill it with something. And if you're in one of those dark times where you doubt yourself, where you think you can't, and you try to take that away rather than replacing it with something that's positive, maybe something brand new, you're going to replace it with something that's even stronger and more negative. At least to my way of thinking, if you want to heal, you have to continually search for the positive in life. And so what you're saying about that, I think, is absolutely right on.
Our mindset is such a powerful tool, and when people talk about mindset and the law of attraction and things like that, I just thought it was BS at first. But then when I started to change my mindset and try to be more positive about things, the more positives I saw. And it works in the reverse. If we have a negative mindset and we're like, well, things are never going to get better. I'm never going to do this and I'm never going to do that. And I can't do this. And if you think you're never going to do something, then you start searching for the reasons why you're never going to do something. And you're going to find them and you're going to adopt them. And it's going to be more proof to yourself that you're never going to do that. But if you just have a ray of hope and faith and you try to search for the positive positives. Like, okay, I did move my finger yesterday, so let me try to move it again today. And if you just search for the positives, like, okay, well, I did that the other day, and you're going to start to find more of the positives out there to fill you up with. And I don't know about you guys, but when I'm having like you said, a dark moment, when I'm just overwhelmed, I honestly go to the groups. I go to the Facebook groups, My Stroke Family, and I start looking at the posts and I start encouraging others and just saying, wow, that was great. Like, Bob, I mean, I'll go on, just these are beautiful. Or I'll see some of David Kiliante's photographs and I'm just like, this is wonderful. Your walk looks great. And it's just those little bits of encouragement that you're throwing out there that you end up feeling better yourself. So it's just one of those things, like when you put things out there into the world, you do get them in return.
Yeah, and that takes work, especially if you think negatively. And I did long time ago, way before I had a stroke. I would be a worrier. And I would think about something and I'd feel my stomach kind of roll over thinking, oh, this is not, no, how am I going to, trying to figure all of this out. And I was going down. And I ended up having to just, in my mind, imagine a stop sign. And as soon as that thought started to form, that stop sign would go up. And it helped me to turn my thinking around.
I love that.
Yes.
I might say that to someone else. I'm just going to warn you. I might, but I'll
please
always
do.
give you credit because I love that.
Yeah, it worked. It helped an awful lot. One of the biggest things that helped me through, and it was a turning point for me when I was in rehab. There was one night, and I wrote about this in the book. There was one night that I was just really struggling. My head hurt. It seemed like this was going to go on forever. I couldn't see beyond my nose, and that's pretty far. So I bet my ability to reason anything out was not there. And the night nurse came in and sat down, and we started to talk about the whole situation. She told me, she said, I want to share my story with you. She said, I know exactly where you are because 4 years ago, I was in a car accident where I actually flew through the windshield. And as she was going through the windshield, her head hit the rearview mirror and it took a piece of her skull. And they thought she was going to die, but she survived. She let me feel she still has that indentation because part of her skull is missing there. And I'm so grateful that she let me do that. And I asked her, I said, by being a nurse, I helped you through the process you're going through now. And she took a deep breath and she said, I did not become a nurse until after the accident. And that just hit me like a ton of bricks. I said, after, there is life after. It's not an existence, it's a life. And that just totally turned my way of thinking around.
That's beautiful. And what you and Bob are doing is what that nurse is doing. You're giving hope just like she's giving hope.
And don't leave yourself up because you are doing the same thing.
That's for sure.
I hope. It's my goal.
Yeah. I think any of us who are admins for a group, because there's a lot of work involved in making these things happen, I think we all have that same desire to do the best we can from the experiences that we have had, to share them with others and let them know there is hope and there is life. Yeah.
I'll jump in real quick. I would not want anyone to go through something like that, what we went through, without having the hope. I guess that's why I got involved in stroke support groups and started letting people know what happened to me and how I came back, and trying to try to keep people going, life after stroke.
I would say that you guys are success stories. I think I can be a success story in a way. And I also think that success is something we can define ourselves. we don't have to think about it as failing. Any step along the way is a learning experience. So
Right.
what do you do from that point? And we get to define what success is for us. And each of us is going to have a different one. I think we're all successes.
We always seem to forget to say something about this. We have bracelets that say, "Don't count me out," and "Stroke Survivor Strong" is what's written on them. And all you have to do, because I've got a whole bunch here, send me a self-addressed stamped envelope and send it to Don't Count Me Out at Post Office Box 174, Bradenton, Florida 34206. But I would just love to have that mailbox stuffed with people that would just say, I'm a stroke survivor too, or I know a stroke survivor, or I belong to a group, or I'm an admin for a group at our hospital. Let's get these bracelets out.
Explain the meaning though of the colors.
We did it in gray because gray is the color for people who are aphasia.
Okay.
And then
You're going to have one for me.
And usually what we do is we send two. We send one for you and one for you to give to a friend.
Well, I was actually thinking about sending you a small envelope so that way maybe I could give some out to my group.
Oh, I'd be happy to do that. Yeah, I'd love that. We need to get the word out.
It happens every time we all get together, no matter who it is that is a stroke survivor, no matter who you're talking to or I'm talking to. We're just going to get talking about our experiences, and there's little nuggets in every conversation that's going to help someone. So I kept holding up these. I never even talked about them, but a big tweezer. Most of my therapy tools are from the dollar store. Some are from Amazon, but I went to the dollar store and just looked in every aisle, basically mostly the toy aisle and the school supply aisle, and I just got things, and like there was these huge tweezers, and even I, with my not great hand, I can still use the big tweezers and grab something like a cotton ball.
Oh, nice.
And you can grab things of different weights. And so you're working on your grip, you're working on your dexterity, your precision. If you're not ready for like regular tweezers, I think this is a great option. Dollar store toy aisle.
That's a great idea.
The putty we get from our therapy people, and they're happy to give them away. And this is my newest therapy item. These are like nuts and bolts from like the preschool toy. I'm going to say aisle, but it's not an aisle because they're from Amazon. This is something where I would hold it with my good hand, and then I would practice. Now, this is what I need to work on. So this is going to be really slow, but it's a practicing of a twist. I'm doing it with my full wrist because I don't have that dexterity yet with my fingers. But Bob, it's something that you could do where it's just like a turning of the fingers. Like one finger is going one direction while the other is going the other direction.
I actually kind of work on these bottles.
Hey.
I struggle with these bottle caps, especially the new ones now that they're thinner. I actually don't have much feeling in my fingertips. First time I've used a mouse in quite a long time, and my index finger doesn't know if it's pushing the right button or the left button. It's just the issues that I have with my hand.
Yeah, just that twist of that bottle cap. I love it. You don't even need the nuts and bolts from Amazon. Bottle cap, same difference. Working on strength of and coordination of one finger going one direction and one going the other. It's a really good one. It's an advanced practice and exercise to work up to nonetheless.
And then I started practicing the piano. I made a promise to Joanne. She started showing some of her beautiful photographs. I'm going to start practicing the piano.
I love that. And do you, as of right now, do you lay your hand on the table and then just practice lifting one finger at a time?
I can do it. I don't practice it.
That's one exercise that I personally need to work on a lot, but I think that might help with the piano. If you want to work on your range of getting keys, like one down, one up here and down here and things like that, you could put a rubber band around your fingers and then practice stretching them. And that's a good strengthening one, as well as coordination.
I'll give that one a try too.
So there's so many good ones to do. And I'm going to say it again, the dollar store. It's the place to go. Just clothespins. It's therapy. Pinch them on the curtain or a hanger. It's the little things. Therapy's everywhere. It's in everything we do. And the more functional the activity, the more we're learning. So it's important to incorporate that hand into your everyday tasks. I'm a brace wearer, and I wear my brace when I know I'm not going to need my hand. But if I'm doing tasks around the house, it's usually out of the brace, and I try to incorporate it. It helps the learning.
Michelle, I'm so glad you were here.
Oh, yeah.
We've wrapped another show. Till the next time we see all of you, have a wonderful day. No, you're not alone. We're all here.
And don't ever count us out.
We'll see you next time.
Have a great day, everyone.